Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So before we get to our final AOA figure in Sugarman, I'm on to my weekly nerdbot.com article and I am really excited to be talking about this figure. Everybody seems to be talking about this line. There's some controversy as far as these figures go, but for me, as a 112 collector predominantly, I could not wait to get my hands on these and start to talk about them. So today we are going to be looking at Snake Eyes from the G.I. Joe Classified series. So before I get started talking about the actual figure in my hand, I want to say that I completely understand G.I. Joe collectors and sort of purists who were miffed about this line being launched as a 112 scale 6-inch figure. I know that G.I. Joe collectibles are huge. I grew up watching the original cartoons. I'm a huge fan of the characters and the series, but I never collected the toys myself. That said, for those of you who wanted a 375 and were really disappointed to have this series being relaunched as a 6-inch figure, I completely get it. I respect that opinion, but I'm not really going to try to compare this figure to what we used to have. I've noticed that Hasbro is working on some retro type options that are coming up with updated sculpts and paints, and I think there's going to be something to sort of satisfy the 375 collector, but for the purposes of this review, I'm just going to talk about the figure that I have in hand and how he works for what he is in the format that I was given. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and take a look right now at our Snake Eyes figure. And I really can't disguise my excitement about this. When I have been looking for these figures all month. I mean, maybe even longer. You know, sometimes the date that they're supposed to come out, like you'll start to see them a little bit early. In the area where I live, I never tend to be near the Walmarts that are getting their stuff out early. So the funny story about this guy was that he actually was sort of hidden, which happens a lot with toys in the toy aisle. There is more on that story in my article, so please make sure to check out nerdbot.com later today and read my article to find out the story about how I got him. He was hidden, but there were a few of him on the shelf. The store just never actually displayed the end cap that you should see, or that I've been seeing online where they should be displayed. So that was kind of interesting. And I told that story not to call anybody out, not to get anybody in trouble, certainly. But for collectors who are looking for these, you may still find lots in the stores. The store that I found this at had 2 Snake Eyes, 2 Dukes, a Roadblock, and a Scarlet. No Destros, which is a shame, but I mean a pretty full run, quite frankly. So you can still find them. Look in the hiding spots that people hide toys in. But I was excited because I wanted Snake Eyes. First of all, he's one of my favorite characters from the G.I. Joe series. Second of all, there were a couple of things that I really wanted to see with these figures. I wanted to, as always, really put the points of articulation to task, and I felt that Snake Eyes should have the most complete accessories pack, and I wanted to see how all of those accessories were working on this figure. So for those of you who don't know, Snake Eyes is a ninja. He doesn't speak, but he really has his Joe team's backs. He has a Timberwolf named Timber, who is like his sidekick, who's awesome, and I was a little disappointed that we didn't get a nod to Timber at all, but maybe in the future. These don't show any signs of slowing down. So before I get into articulation, I'm going to break down the accessories pack because I've got everything on him right now, and I think we can all agree that he looks awesome. I really like the updated visor. But let's look at the accessories that he actually has on his body, and I'm going to take them off as I talk about them. So the first thing that he comes with is this backpack, which is just a tactical black backpack. It doesn't obviously open or anything. And to the side of that pegs a katana, which here is, let's look at this closer. Here is his katana. There's the peg. It pegs into the side of the backpack, and it actually does come out. Here we go. So it's a pretty good looking piece. I love that it's all black. Everything is all black. There's a little bit of red detail on his visor and on the sheath for his weapon. I think there might be a little bit more maybe on the backpack. So that is his first weapon, is his katana. His backpack also pegs into his back. He has this strap across his body that has grenades. So there's a hole that goes through the strap into his back where his backpack pegs in. And then we can take a closer look at that. So this is just a really cool look. It's not functional, but it looks really neat. And it's easy to remove. So for some reason you wanted to remove it, it doesn't. They make it really easy. And the peg works good. It's tight and the pack stays in there even with the strap between it. But if you do find that it's a little bit loose with the strap, you can just sort of push the strap aside and put it straight into his back and it's perfect. So here is then the hole in the backpack, the peg with the katana, and it goes like this. So that is the first of his accessories. He also has an SMG. I want you to see that in his hand, and a tactical knife, both which he can hold with ease. So here is his SMG. It's good looking. And the knife is basic. It's just a tactical sort of serrated hunting type knife. I will say this is, there's kind of an issue with the knife, at least on mine. He has a sheath for it here on a garter on his leg, and the knife doesn't actually sit in it all the way. So this is as far as I can get it to go in. You can see it sort of partially poking out there. I've turned it, I've tried to push it down. It just doesn't go all the way down to the hilt. Excuse me. So that's a little bit annoying, but you saw how cool he looked with it in his hand. I'm okay with it, but I do want to point out that at least for mine, the knife doesn't fit all the way into the sheath. He also then has a pistol, which is in a holster on his hip and can be removed easily. This is what that pistol looks like. So he's got two guns now, a katana and a tactical knife, and then he has a silencer which slips into a little loop on the front of his holster. It slides in like this, and this is the silencer. The silencer actually doesn't fit on one of the guns, which is weird to me, I think. I fiddled with it a lot. It has, let's see, let's get focus here. You can see it's notched as if it should slide on, and there's even a little bit of a, I think it's supposed to be the barrel, but I tried it both ways is the point of the story. But neither of the weapons has a hole drilled out to put that peg into. It's far too large for the pistol, so it should be for the SMG, I think. That could be something you could customize, so that it could be like this. If you can see that, I know it's drawing focus on my face. I'm trying to block it out. Right here. So you might be able to customize that, but it looks really good in the loop next to his holster. So again, that one is a little bit off, but I was all right with it. So he has, now these are accessories that are fixed to the figure. I think that you could probably slip this strap over his head if you were determined to remove it, and the grenades that come with it. His belt is double looped, tactical belt. You can see here it does move up and is loose around his waist so that you get maximum movement in his waist. And quite frankly, I think that you could probably, his hips are so narrow, slip that down over his hips if you wanted to remove them. He's got his weapon holster, his gun holster here, and his knife sheath here. Both of those are on garters around his thighs that also will slip down. So these are affixed. They don't have snaps or buttons to take them off, but they are flexible vinyl that can be manipulated to take them off if you wanted to. So if you count the holsters, belts, and straps that are on him, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 accessories that come with him. So this accessories pack is complete and thorough, and it fits the character. It's got everything that Snake Eyes would have to be a stealthy fighter, and I was really, really pleased with them. Aside from the 2 things that I mentioned, the knife not fitting into the sheath and the silencer not actually fitting onto the weapons, everything else is perfect. As you saw when I first showed him in this video, he's able to hold his weapons in a way that makes sense. The pack sits on his back nicely. So as far as accessories go, I am really, really happy. Now the second thing, and probably the most important thing, is Snake Eyes is a ninja. So when this figure is announced as being highly articulate, it needs to be. So we're going to go through each and every point of articulation on this figure and make sure that we can put it through its paces properly and that he actually has the flexibility of a ninja the way that he should. So first of all, let's look at this visor. I know that this is sort of a reimagined design, but I really like it. I think it's a nice modern take on Snake Eyes look, and I think it's still, you know, having him black on black is super important, and I like that they didn't try to add anything that wasn't necessary, but still were able to give us sort of an updated look. So with that said, looking at the neck, his head is a little bit stiff. Looking up and down though, we get some good angles, I think. And obviously it turns all the way around. He doesn't have a lot of side-to-side flexibility, so really it's just up, down, and all the way around. But that should be fine, I think. I think that's pretty typical. So we have a perfect lateral lift, and I'm gonna do the arms and legs laterally at the same time because I'm so happy with them. So we get the perfect 180 degrees that I think that every figure should have. So you can see that we get exactly the type of flexibility that you would expect to see from a ninja. It's really, really satisfying to have him posed like this, and he's sort of been sitting on my coffee table like this. You do have to sort of shift around these sheaths and holsters a little bit so that they are not bumping into his hip, but when you do move them out of the way, you get an excellent pose, and then you can easily maneuver them back into place where they belong. So the lateral lift on the arms and legs is perfect for me. He does have butterfly joints, but they don't go back very far. So you can see that's back as far as they go. It's maybe a little easier to see if you straighten his arms a little bit and a little bit forward. Make sure we're using that joint and not the armpit. So there are butterfly joints. We don't get a lot from them, but we do have full 360 degrees up here in the armpit. We have a full 360 degrees here in the bicep. He has another, oh, I forgot these 2 straps he has on his arms. So he has 2 additional straps on his arms that have just like a little pocket, like a little tactical pocket on each side. So that makes it 12 accessories. It's really impressive, you guys. It's so satisfying. So anyway, we're here and we're checking the bicep. 360 is great. You have to push this up to do the elbow, but we get a pretty good movement in the elbow. You can see that this strap does obstruct that a little bit. So I'm just gonna slide it off. You can see how easy that is to do. He just slides right off over his arm. So it's, you can see, we'll take a closer look at what these look like. It's just a nice little detail, and as you can see, really easy to manipulate and maneuver. So then let's see what we get at the bend in the elbow once that's off. It's not bad. You know, elbows have sort of it's a little bit difficult with a bicep, and they've sort of been like this for a while. I think they can and should go farther, but this is all right, and it's anticipated. So here is the wrist. There we go. And he has forward and backward motion, but it is a little bit obstructed. Actually, he has the side to side, like the waving motion. Like that. And like that. So it actually is not obstructed. I'm sorry about that. So the arms are excellent. We have a really good bow in the torso. Here, let's actually go ahead and slip this off. You can see it just slid right over his head. Super easy to remove. These are his grenades. There we go. So let's look then at the forward motion. Really, really good there. And backward goes equally as far back. So we've got a great center of gravity to work with, which is really important, especially if you're doing action poses, flying poses, jumping poses, ninja poses. We should get a really good center of gravity with this. He also has, under his belt here, you can see a waist that turns all the way around easily. We've already looked at the lateral lift, so let's go ahead and look at, he does have these garters sitting over his, the turning in his thigh. So you can sort of push those down, or, as you can see, take them off completely with ease, just over the foot, just like that. And this is his gun holster. So with that removed, we can see we've got 360 degrees here in the thigh. We have really good knees on this guy. I'm really happy with the way they look too. They don't have that blocky square look that is just a natural product of a pinned joint. That's just how it's going to be. But with the sculpt around his pants, it really doesn't look that bad with this one at all. He's got the 360 degree turn in the boot. A little stiff, but nothing that wasn't easy to work. A foot that goes all the way back. Pretty forward. I mean, we get at least a little bit of a toe lift there. And then we've got that nice round flexible ball and socket joint. I am so happy with this Snake Eyes. So for a 6-inch figure, the type of flexibility he has and the ability he has to hold poses and positions in between are really, really impressive. He's so smooth. He can do everything that you would want your ninja figure to do, and the accessories pack is really unrivaled. We're still at the $19.99 price point on this figure, and he comes with so many things. The combinations with which you can use them, take them off, put them on, pose them, put them in different places is endless. It really feels like you could do anything with this figure. So I do sort of wish that he came with maybe instead of so many garters and straps and little things like this, which I appreciate and I think they're neat. I think they're neat details and I'm not upset about them, but maybe instead of so many of those, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different garters around his arms and legs. It might have been nice to have 2 more sets of hands that were in different poses, like fighting poses. We've got both of these are for holding weapons. So it would have been nice to have a set of fists and maybe like a flat chopping hand, but that's nitpicky. And also I've got so many hands. I mean, if you're collecting these Hasbro 6-inch figures, you've got accessories. So I can probably find a pair of hands that I can either paint black, or I probably have some that are black that I can use on this figure. So that's a small nitpick, and really everything that is a nitpick, everything that is not great about this figure is super nitpicky. He's flexible, he's good looking, the sculpt is on point, he's modernized in just the right way, but is truly still and obviously Snake Eyes. So I am really, really happy with this figure, and I only picked up one because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, but now I feel sort of committed as a fan of the franchise and having not collected the toys when I was a kid of getting them all. So I went ahead and, you know me, pre-ordered this first series. I've pre-ordered my gold Destro. I cannot wait to get the silver Destro in hand, and even though it might be you know, a month down the line when everybody's already talked about them, I'm still going to do a review for Destro because I think that figure is really spectacular looking. Let me know if you want to see me do reviews for the whole line. I'm not sure. Pre-ordering, you know, the projected date is July, and BBTS has been so good to me, so maybe I'll get it this month, but I'm thinking it'll probably take a little bit longer. Let me know if you want me to do the rest of this series. With Snake Eyes as the first look for me, as the starting figure for this series, I think that good things are going to come. I know that there are retro style figures coming. Some of them they released, I understand, were 4 inches, but I also understand that 375 retros with new sculpts are coming out. So we could be in a really interesting and fun era for G.I. Joe figs, and starting off with this as the first 6-inch figure that I got my hands on, I am really excited and can't wait to see what comes next. So that is my G.I. Joe Classified first look, and I am really, really happy with what I got to see. Let me know what you guys think of your G.I. Joe Classified figures. If you're finding them in the store, where you're finding them, if you're seeing the end caps, if you got pre-orders, how long did they take to come in? Let me know everything in the comments below, and I will do another video on these as soon as I get them in hand. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've got another video today, our final AOA figure Dark Beast, and tomorrow we'll be looking at Sugar Man. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll be back later today with another one. Bye, friends.